guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for today's video I am going to talk about the ethical issues and challenges. Ethical issues occur when a given decision, scenario, or activity creates a conflict with a society's moral principles. In a perfect world, it's always clear what's right or wrong. In the real world, things are often not so clear. Someone's wrong can be your right, which means your right will definitely at some point be someone else's wrong. Most of the time, the right choice is subjective. In business, many of these ethical challenges appear in the form of bribes, conflicts of interest, issues of honesty and integrity. So here are some ethical issues. Number one, developing ethical culture. This is a culture of a company influences the moral judgment of employees and stakeholders. Companies that work to create a strong ethical culture motivate everyone to speak and act with honesty and integrity. Number two, eliminating conflict of interest. It is a conflict of interest involves a person or entity that has two relationships competing with each other for the person's loyalty. For example, the person might have a loyalty to an employer and also loyalty to a family business. Number three, enhancing cross-cultural ethics. Cross-culture is a vital issue in international business as the success of international trade depends upon the smooth interaction of employees from different cultures and regions. Number four, boosting fraud prevention. Number five, aligning risk management to corporate governance. Number six, equitable action to every shareholder. Number seven, fostering acceptable values in interorganizational relationships. Number eight, unbiased relationship with employees. Number nine, appropriate disposition to acquisition and use of intellectual property. The purpose of intellectual property is to create a framework that incentivizes value creation, specifically development of new ideas and inventions, while also providing for public access to the good or service. Number 10, observance of acceptable standards in finance. Number 11, adherence to genuineness of proposition in sales, marketing, and representation. Number 12, application of technology for improving human race. Number 13, effective use of acceptable production and assurance technique. Number 14, promoting gender equality at work. Number 15, participating in community development. Number 16, accepting full responsibilities for its action. And last, prohibition of bribery. So here are some causes of unethical practices: greed, no time, no experience, breakdown of control, deficient education, circle of influence, poor organizational culture, absence of requisite risk management, gamble, and last, lack of integrity. Ethical issues in a society recline on the levers of values, beliefs, and idiosyncrasies of people who act or stand perceived as role, influencers, or action models therein. So let's go to REST model of ethical action. The first one is behavior. So let's define what is the behavior. The behavior is a complete, unequivocal execution of the decision and the openness and transparency by which the repercussions are made public. Second is the intention. It is the strength of character for wanting to do the right thing, making it a priority amongst competing and uncomfortable alternatives, and the consistency and resiliency in the face of external pressure. The third one is the judgment. It is a knowledge, guidelines, and codes of conduct which help form a decision as well as the innate moral compass for knowing the right thing. The last is awareness. It is a recognition of a moral issue by empathetically understanding others' perspective and showing sensitivity to the broader impacts of a decision. So here are some approaches for handling ethical predicament: utilitarianism, communal acceptation, religiosity, religion philosophy, personal virtue, deontology, and integrated corporate ethical framework. Utilitarianism. This is an ethical doctrine based on value of usefulness to all concerned, thereby yielding the highest level of happiness. Thus, it's not focused on the desire of few people in a society. Utilitarianism believes that the purpose of morality is to make life better by increasing the amount of good things such as pleasure and happiness in the world, and decreasing the amount of bad things such as pain and happiness. Communal acceptation. This approach hinges on the finality of action by a community for a particular purpose, albeit the fundamental goal could be the happiness of a person or a few people who use positions as great power influencers to induce followers or prestige in the direction of self-aggrandizement or minority satisfaction. This means communal acceptance. It refers to the fact that a new technology is accepted or merely tolerated by a community. Let's go to religiosity. This is the application of doctrines enshrined in a particular religion as the only permissible framework for ascertainment of right and wrong. Religion philosophy. This highlights a mixture of doctrines of an imbibed religion and the basic beliefs in addition to principles of a group of people with the aim of obtaining a framework that conciliates both sides of the coin. Personal virtue. The practice of evolving individual character to a point of effectiveness by reinforcing one's values with the culture of a community, firm, group, or association. This personal virtue, it looks at the virtue of moral character of the person carrying out an action rather than at ethical duties and roles or the consequences of particular actions. And let's move to deontology, the generic method of assessing the level of morality with which a particular action or activity represents in order to categorize it as right, wrong, permissible, or mandatory. It also suggests actions are good or bad according to a clear set of rules. The last is integrated corporate ethical framework. This involves the development of an inclusive framework that serves as a hallmark of value excellence for an organization or association by mixing assessed values and principles of immediate operating communities, professional bodies, and global institutional benchmarks. So here are the common rationalizations used to justify unethical conducts. First, if it's necessary, it's ethical. Second, if it's legal and permissible, it's proper. Third, I was just doing it for you. Fourth, I'm just fighting fire with fire. Fifth, it doesn't hurt anyone. Number 6, it can't be wrong. 7, it is not for myself. Number 8, it is a fair compensation for I lost. And last, number 9, it does not affect my judgment. So here are some types of white-collar crime: bank fraud, blackmail, bribery, cellular phone fraud, computer fraud, counterfeiting, credit card fraud, embezzlement, environmental schemes, extortion, forgery, weights and measures, healthcare fraud, insider trading, insurance fraud, investment schemes, kickback, larceny or theft, money laundering, racketeering, securities fraud, tax evasion, telemarketing fraud, and welfare fraud. Computer fraud can be defined as the use of a computer to gain unauthorized access to information or perform activities with the explicit goal of gaining material goods at the expense of others through criminal means. An act involving misuse of computer or data therein so as to illegitimately take over fund, material or property or valuable thing or to bring about loss. Computer crime involves the use of a computer resource for the purpose of illicitly gaining goods or resources, or causing harm to another entity. For example, fraud, theft, child pornography, virus, and other unauthorized access, whereas computer fraud is a subset of computer crime involving the use of electronic resources to present fraudulent or misrepresented information as a means of deception. For example, online auction fraud, identity theft, and phishing. So here are the types of computer fraud. Number 1, computer manipulation. Number 2, computer forgery. Number 3, desktop counterfeiting. What is computer manipulation? Computer manipulation, it refers to the use or manipulation of a computer to perpetrate a crime. So here are the some kinds of computer manipulation. Number 1, input manipulation. It occurs where false or misleading data are input into a computer to achieve a specific criminal purpose. Number 2, program manipulation. It occurs when data or software in a program is altered to commit or facilitate a crime. The last one is output manipulation. It occurs where data or software is input into a computer in order to affect what the computer outputs. Computer forgery. This is illegal alteration of documents in a computer in order to cause misrepresentation, thereby defrauding an entity. The last one is desktop counterfeiting. This deals with designing and developing counterfeit or modified forms of documents, checks, and certificates by means of desktop publishing skills. So here are some tools used for internet fraud: email, chat rooms, websites, message boards, portals, and web application. Types of internet fraud: credit or debit card fraud, business deceit, recruitment deceit, freight forwarding scam, counterfeit check scam, advance fee fraud, non-delivery of goods or service fraud. The successful integration of fitting ethical framework into organizations and the society at large shall provide the right platform for building effective action against challenges of unethical practices. Exercise. An organization intends to boost its corporate governance through effective ethical practices. State appropriate recommendations. So that's for today, guys. I hope you learned something from the discussion. Thank you and goodbye.